This episode of Co-op is brought to you by GoDaddy, Gamefly, and Squarespace. We found it! Dude, I can't believe it.
I know.
Oh, what's in this thing?
Dude, I've been hanging on for this for 10 years. This is our time capsule, dude.
Right when it turned year 2000, Matt and I put a bunch of shit in a box and said that we weren't going to open it until 2010, which is, now.
You guys haven't opened this for 10 years?
Nope. Not 10 years, dude.
Exactly.
Well, pretty dirty.
Except you can't spell. Apparently you couldn't spell in 2001,
Man,
right?
shut the fuck up.
Whoa.
I made that in high school.
Are these twin Marilyn Mansons?
There's actually a third one back there, and that
There's
it's
three
a
Marilyn
little hard.
Mansons in here.
That's true. That's true. I was in high school. That's
I give that painting 3 Marilyn Mansons out of 5.
Yes.
Check it out, Neo Geo Pocket.
Oh, I always wanted one of those.
Oh my god,
awesome.
dude. So cute.
Match of the Millennium's in here, man. That game is great.
Oh, that's so great.
I was totally reading Fight Club back then.
Exactly.
Oh, that's
so
great.
awesome.
Oh, it's my old sketchbook. Look, check it out. I've got my list of things to do by 2010. Dude, buy stock in Apple. That would have been a good idea.
Yeah, that would have been.
I love that you have become buff on there.
Miyamoto.
Yeah, become buff, of course. Well, you got to become buff and then meet Miyamoto.
It's true.
Yeah. Well,
This is my original E3 badge from E3 '99.
Yep.
You could still go as long as you were 18 years old and you paid. You just had to make fake business cards. I made up a fake company name, Anti-Worlds Entertainment. Look, I'm a game designer.
Nice.
18-year-old game designer.
that's
Regular
fucking
John Romero.
Yep.
Whose was this?
That was mine.
That's gorgeous.
That's my
Jesus
G3 power book,
Christ.
dude. Look at this.
Is
Look
that
at that baby?
Is that a modem?
That's awesome.
And it's lumpy.
I think your computer might have a few tumors. Sorry.
Whoa.
Prognosis is not good.
Dude, you had Street Fighter 2010?
Oh, yeah, we didn't play it.
Oh yeah, we purposefully didn't play it. We put it in the box. We're gonna
We're
play this,
saving
and
it.
we
This is the most awesome game ever.
No.
we were like, we gotta put that in the box.
Dude, I had a Nintendo. I couldn't afford a Super Nintendo yet, and I wanted to play Street Fighter super bad. And lo and behold, they had a Street Fighter from Nintendo. It was awesome. You could play as Ken with body armor.
We're
Yeah,
saving
it's
it for now.
2010. We have to play this game.
All right,
this is
all right.
amazing.
All right, let's do it.
This is awesome.
Let's do it.
The thing I like about you most is you'd run away with me. So pack your bags and your shotgun too. We might run into zombies. We're always down for that co-op multiplayer action. We're always down. We're so down. We're so down. We're so down for co-op. We're so down for that co-op action.
We covered Critter Crunch a while ago, the iPhone version of Critter Crunch, and since then, there's been a PSN version of Critter Crunch, which I actually put off playing until this holiday season. It is awesome. I fell in love with it immediately. I just hadn't gotten so sucked in by a puzzle game for a while, and then I went back and played the iPhone version, and then I had Clash of Heroes, Might and Magic, sitting in my DS ready to go as well. So I had a very cappy holiday, and it's been a wonderful time. And as much as I like Critter Crunch, I've been even more sucked into Clash of Heroes, and it's more than any other DS game in a long time. You started playing Clash of Heroes before I did, and I looked down and I'm like, oh yeah, it looks like Critter Crunch, but with an RPG skin on it or something like that.
Right.
And I kind of figured that they'd be really similar, but I mean, though both games are similar, they play to different strengths. I mean, Critter Crunch is very much about time and moving very quickly because all the little critters are kind of slowly moving down the screen, and so you are trying to race against the clock to make all your moves, your little combinations just perfect. And Clash of Heroes is kind of a similar thing, except for time usually isn't what you're fighting against.
Right.
You know, generally you have as much time as you want to plan your next move, and so really you're planning, like in other good tactical strategy games, you're planning like 5-6 moves ahead of yourself and just trying to set up the best combination of items to get the best results.
And what I like too is the way this is different than the matching puzzle games or even Critter Crunch is that when you match up 3 colors or when you have 2 or 3 of the guys eat each other, you know, they disappear and that is your reward for it. What I like with this is when you match up the characters, you're essentially creating a battle formation for them to charge into the next screen. There's just something about that I like so much more than just being like, oh, I matched up 3 yellow colors and now it's gone and now I need to find the next match. I really like the fact that doing these colors, I needed to time them so that the moves were all gonna sync up at the same time so you could do those link attacks or just seeing them do that once the attacks are done, seeing 2 or 3 of your units just charge through the guys. It's a great piece of feedback.
The amount of depth they inject into the puzzle genre too is great. Using relics, you know, to power up and you know give tweaks to each type of formation, like you know, adding a percentage of attack power to chained attacks or your hero attacks. You know, like everyone has their unique hero attacks.
Right, exactly. So you know the hero attacks, the relics. That stuff really gives it the kind of RPG-ness.
Yeah.
But it's actually one kind of simple mechanic that I think truly makes this game for me, and that's that, you know, in any given round you have 3 kind of moves or 3 turns. Like in most puzzle games, you're trying to get 3 like-colored things to match up. And if there are 2 with 1 different colored thing separating it, and you remove that, and if it lines up and then links, it doesn't take a turn for that.
Yeah.
And then if you happen to set up something where, you know, there's 2 of those things that happen at once, you can do 1 removal and get +2
like
back
a wall
for that.
and a formation
like a wall
at the same
and a
time.
formation,
Yeah.
or 2 walls or whatever.
Yeah.
I start planning by looking at how many rolls I can save myself, or how many turns I can save myself
Yeah,
first
absolutely.
before I start actually like using up my turns. And I love that the attackers too are the defenders. If they're not attacking, every unit is super weak. They have like 2 hit points of damage and they'll just die. But if you get them into attack formation, then at that point they have some HP that can really defend against incoming
And that also
attacks.
doubles as how much damage that they're going to do as well once
Right.
they finally do their turn. So I kind of like how there's that balance there where either the HP to sort of work as blockage, but at the same time it's like if I do get hit, I'm like, oh, he's only going to do like 4 damage now.
So they've done a nice job of kind of making it really kind of simple to get into. I mean, the only thing you really have to worry about is like the number of turns until any formation is going to attack and the amount of like hit points that it has.
Yeah.
And for a game to be so complex and feel like numbers matter so much to it without actually like shoving them in your face all the time is really refreshing. The game has an overworld and that sort of thing, and then so there's a basic kind of story that goes along with it. But you know, over the course of the game, you play as many different hero characters, and that was a bit of a surprise to me, a good surprise. Like you begin the game as an elf, and so you're using lots of elven attacks. She has walls that regenerate, so as long as a wall gets built and survives a round, it gets more powerful in the next round. And her special attack is this thing called Sniper Shot, which basically is like an arrow that points right at the enemy, and it does a
giant arrow,
it does a ton of damage. And so it eases you into the game by giving you someone who is very good at defense with the magic walls, and then has this like a silver bullet magic attack. And so it was a really kind of easy way to get in the game. And then once I got to the second character, I was like, oh man, I have to start over. I just leveled up all of my units and my hero from the other class, and bam, in a new world. It was really interesting to start over again after that from scratch and like slowly have to build up again to getting my elite units and stuff. And by the time I had done it through the second character, who's Godric, I thought my playstyle had developed in such a way where I was playing really defensively. I mean, his special ability is a shield that comes up behind all your units to make sure that you stay alive in the heat of a giant battle.
Saved my butt more than a few times.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And by the time I was done with his series of battles, like I would often have like 3 to 4 rows of walls up in the front of my screen, and then a few units in the back with very strong attacks. I wasn't really doing many weak attacks. Then you get to the third person, who's a necromancer, and my playstyle has been totally different playing as her. I'm much more offensive. I attack all the time, and I hardly ever put up walls like I did before. And it was just really, really interesting because I thought, oh, this is my playstyle, but it wasn't. It was just that was the right playstyle for that character.
I think part of it that helps really make the characters feel different is the elite classes, and that all of them they have similarities between a lot of them, but there's enough where they're different in that when you're the human characters, you have priests that'll heal you, or the knights that are just they can jump over walls, so walls don't even matter, and they can just keep going. But when you're on the necromancers, they have like a lot more characters who don't take damage at the vampires, and when they do damage, they suck it back to you.
These guys, Cappy, they're from Canada, but their games look very much like Critter Crunch is a different story because it's so high res and so new looking. Yeah. But I mean, they look like Japanese designed games, and it's really strange to know that it's coming out of these white dudes from Canada. But I mean, they freaking pull it off. When you're playing in the Elven areas at the very beginning of the game, the overworld is kind of almost like just a map that you walk around and story happens on it. You know,
it's like a board game almost, because you have like specific points you can move around to. You can't just kind of like walk around wherever you want.
Exactly, but there are like cool, interesting things to find, like puzzles that are very similar to the Critter Crunch puzzle stages, bounties that you can collect and then go kill off people and then bring them back. I mean, there's these few different elements that are scattered throughout the map, but the map itself was kind of straightforward. But then in the second area, and even further in the third area, they add kind of a little bit of differences. Like there's stealth areas in the second area,
where you have to
in the
hide
human area.
Yeah, the stage that really called out to me was the stage where you have to hide from the guards that are shifting, and they warn you beforehand, watch their pattern, and you have to see them tick, tick, tick.
The final thing I think we would be dumb to not talk about is that the multiplayer is freaking awesome.
It is a ton of fun. I haven't had this much fun since playing my buddies over a modem on Command & Conquer Red Alert.
I mean, we hopped in and it was exactly as good as I wanted it to
Perfect.
be.
They have all the characters are fully leveled up, and there's like 7, 8 characters like
to begin with,
somewhere around there that we've unlocked so far.
And you unlock ones as you go through the game.
Exactly.
I'm
you have all of them that
yeah.
give you a huge selection of artifacts to choose from, and so there's all these you can choose how long each person gets to make their turn.
One thing we did notice though, the characters aren't really balanced. Like I said, when you start the game, you're using these elves that have regenerating walls and the sniper shot attack, and if you equip the right units and the right artifact, in this case unicorns and dragons, and the doubling cape that allows you to get a 50% bonus for every linked attack, which was my setup, you're pretty much unstoppable. Any one of you knows that if you go up against anyone using that setup, it's going to be a damn hard challenge. You know what I mean? It's going to be really hard. And I really think that some of the artifacts, there are ones that are like, 80% bonus to this particular unit's one attack if you do it right. And I feel like, I don't know it yet, but there are going to be some really hardcore strategies where if you play it very specifically in this way that, all of a sudden you're going to be unbeatable, or someone else is going to have to find something to stop you. And that's what I'm looking forward to digging into. It's just a good, fun game to play against people. I haven't played that much DS this year. I played much more PSP and console, main console games, but I think this is my favorite DS game of the year. I mean, I'm certain I like it better than Spirit Tracks, which was the last game that I was pretty into on DS. So, I mean, hats off to those Cappy guys, because I just was not expecting this at all.
It's my biggest surprise.
Yeah, I was gonna say I can't put it down.
GoDaddy.com makes it easy to customize your own virtual dedicated server. Choose one of 3 popular plans or select your own Linux or Windows server with all the plan options you need. Plus, Enter code CO4 when you check out and save an additional 15% on any order of $75 or more. Some restrictions apply. See site for details. Get your piece of the internet at GoDaddy.com.
Yeah? Good? All right.
Dude, 10 years. This is
Wait, so you guys play this?
Let's do this.
You guys
All right,
play
quarter
this?
up, quarter up.
No. There's no quarter up. There's not even 2 players. This is a 1-player game.
Are you kidding me?
No, it's 1 player.
A one-player Street Fighter.
That's not
It's Street Fighter 2010. In the future, it's 1 player. You have to forgive the story. It's a little cheesy, but it stays with the canon. I mean, it's
Who the
still
hell is
Ken.
Troy?
It's Ken.
But who's Troy?
It's his partner, his life partner, He gets killed, and 25 years after he's been the Street Fighter champ, this is a post-tournament,
What happened to Eliza or whatever?
He becomes a space explorer or something, and he goes...
Cyboplasm? Really?
He gets rebuilt.
Cyboplasm?
He gets rebuilt, okay?
what
Do
is-
an R you can.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's no Street Fighter moves like there used to be.
What?
Like
What's
Fireball.
the point, dude?
Dude, Fireball is every punch. And
But he doesn't-
has like kicks.
Dude, no, duck.
He doesn't have a duck. It's more refined, It's like they boiled it down to 3 simple techniques that hold a lot of depth.
What is this stage? What is going on?
I feel like they don't understand perspective.
No, they don't. There's like things in different planes. You can jump on that?
It's the future, dude. You can jump on anything. Plus, it's still 1-on-1. Like I'm fighting like the
scorpion guy.
red guy.
Oh,
like
yeah.
I got a life bar. He's got a life bar.
Yeah.
It's like it's a fighting game plus.
It's like where?
Plus distractions.
Dude,
Where is
This
this
is-
even supposed to be? I mean, like, oh, look, New York. There's a Statue of
my
Liberty.
God.
Look, this is
Yeah,
fucking New York.
it's like
New York.
Blade Runner, dude. We're like in some temple in the.
Did they
with
show him
New
going
York.
to a different planet?
So you can totally using the combination of moves. It's still like a game of chess, except with less moves. It's like maybe like checkers instead of chess. It's on the
Cesar,
NES.
this is about as far from fighting games as you could get without it being asteroids.
It's 2010, dude.
Dude, there's like a huge delay. You hit B and it takes like a fucking second for your punch thing to come out.
Well, that's Nintendo, but come on.
all right.
No,
Just
no.
admit it. This game is awful. Let's go do something else.
Yeah, this is not Street Fighter.
But it's 2010. It's the future.
What's wrong, Billy? No money for new games? Well, try GameFly. GameFly is the largest online video game rental service and offers you a choice from over 6,000 new and classic titles across all consoles and handhelds. With plans starting at $15.95 a month, GameFly members can rent 1 to 4 games at a time and keep them for as long as they like. There are no late fees, no due dates, and shipping is always free. Once you're done playing a game, send it back and GameFly will send you the next available game on your list. If you really like the game you're playing, simply click Keep It on the GameFly website and the game is yours, at a discounted price. GameFly will even mail you the case and manuals free of charge. Co-op fans will get a 2-week free trial when they go to gamefly.com/co-op. Some restrictions apply, see site for details.
Wouldn't catch me up there.
Verschwindet!
I didn't know much about it other than that it was black and white for some of it, and that it was open world. That was it. I was kind of just like purposely staying away from information on it, just so it would be kind of a surprise at the end of the year. I also didn't like Pandemic's, I think it was their last game, Mercenaries 2, felt really thrown together and weak. So I was just hoping that Sabateur would be a step up from that, and I think it definitely was, even in its opening moments. When you come out into that black and white world, like, I was like, all right, well, this is really cool. I haven't played a game like this.
I mean, maybe it was just because I had seen Inglourious Bastards, but to have the game take place in, World War II Nazi-occupied France made it really interesting to me. To have this GTA-like game set in that space was really cool, and the black and white was an amazing visual to start the game off with. Most of the game is black and white. It's got this crazy contrasty look. Those blacks are super rich.
You step out of the club right at the beginning and into the space, into the world, into the city, and it's like nothing you've ever seen in a game before, and it looks great. I thought it started really, really strong. You do a mission right away where you've got an AI character helping you. He sets like a timed explosive, and then you sneak into a base. It's like, introducing you to the Sabateur mechanics. And at this point, it's all black and white. There's a few things like the fire and the Nazis are showing up in color. It just feels really kind of cool. And then after that, you're whisked away to the countryside where you learn more about the backstory of your character and why you're this new, Sabateur going through and blowing up all these Nazi installations in Paris. And there's a car race. It turns out your character Sean, who's this Irishman, is a race car driver, which is just like a really cool setup for a character in a GTA 4 styled game where you're constantly stealing automobiles and driving around real fast. Like, your character's a driver. It makes sense. And then the setup to that story makes it believable that he might go through and become this crazy Sabateur guy.
It's a really cool introduction to go through this mini version of the game, in the beginning, and then you're thrust back into black and white Paris. And it's really cool to be able to see what the world was like in color, and then all of a sudden be thrust back into black and white. It has much more effect.
The visuals in this game aren't the best that I've ever seen, but for a GTA style, open world game, I thought at least at the beginning, I was like, the black and white in Paris looks awesome. This color countryside with like all that entails, and the tiny villages, German village you go visit there, it all looked great. And it wasn't until I got back into Paris and started recoloring the world there that I was like, this game really does look better in black and white. And when I start putting the color back in the world, it looks kind of like a lot of the contrast goes away. It looks kind of pastel-y. The standing up on top of buildings in like a game like Assassin's Creed 2 and looking out at the distance, everything still looks detailed off into the distance of the world. But here, it's not the same. I was just a little bummed out that in the distance everything looked a little blurry, and it looks better when it's black and white and blurry than it does when it's in color and blurry. At that point, the visuals really feel like they're taking a hit. There are times when you'll look one direction and everything looks pretty darn good, you're like, dang, this is a pretty good looking open world game. Then you spin your character around and there's a texture that repeats on the entire side of this huge building and down onto the ground. I mean, I think the worst offender in that situation is that one of the hubs, one of your bases that you have to go to all the time in the early game, is this meat packing factory, this meat house. It's just awful looking. It's poorly designed. It's not fun to run through, and you look around and you're like, man, I don't want to be here. I want to be somewhere nice.
Visuals aside, though, initially I have to admit the game felt unfinished to me. It felt kind of thrown together, and it still needed another pass, another level of finishing.
There's all sorts of random tiny bugs I ran into. This one time I found one of the major gameplay mechanics is that there's Nazi encampments all over the streets, and you can go up and blow them up using your explosives. And at that point, it makes it easier for you to escape because there's not Nazis respawning from that point every time. So I was doing this at some point because I got to a story mission that was pretty hard to finish, and I thought, okay, well, I'll just walk down the street and clear out all these Nazi encampments, and at that point it'll be really easy for me to finish the mission. So I started doing it, and I was having a good time taking down towers and all this stuff, and I found this anti-aircraft gun, and I was like, sweet, let's hop in and give it a try. I hopped in, and it just kept respawning Zeppelins all around the world, and the currency in the game is what you use to buy new weapons and upgrades and that sort of stuff, and it's pretty hard to come by early in the game. And so I was like, oh my god, it's respawning these Zeppelins, and I'm getting $1,000 every time I do it. I'm just gonna keep spinning around and killing off all these zeppelins. I probably did it for 40 minutes or an hour.
You get lots of contraband for that.
It was ridiculous, but it was worth it in contraband because I upgraded all my stuff and unlocked a bunch of stuff early in the game.
The glitchiness isn't always for the good though, Like I got trapped by one of my own AI characters against a wall one time, and then they came right up and just gunned us both down. I was supposed to protect him, but he, him following me, got this close to me in a wall and just trapped me super bad. And
that's just it.
Atrocious.
It's like the type of stuff that probably could have been fixed with extra development time. I mean, there's a lot of clever ideas in this game. One of the big ones that I really like and that is shown to you early on, I mean, aside from the sabotaging gameplay mechanic, which is cool, is that you can go up to a Nazi and stealth kill them and then take on their clothes as a disguise.
That's the coolest,
which is really, really cool. And that's just it. Is like you can be deadly if you want. You can find crazy gun emplacements and take out. I mean, I killed a shitload of Nazis in this game. I really did, and it's fun. It's a fun game. I really liked the. Usually I don't like it when a game rips off its mechanics directly from another game, but it was kind of refreshing to hop into this new world, but then have everything work just like GTA 4, or generally really close to it. Like, I hopped in a car, I hit to the side on the D-pad, and sure enough, the radio station changed, and I was just like, all right, I feel really at home here, even though it's a totally new place, which just let me focus on the things that I wanted to focus on, which was learning the environment and, worrying about the missions and the story. I didn't have to worry about the controls. I feel like driving isn't quite as fun for me in the game.
I like the driving more, honestly.
Yeah.
It was easier, and I got frustrated easily with the driving in GTA, so for me, I was hop in and go. It felt perfect.
Right, and I prefer the driving to feel a little bit more, I would say, realistic, which is that you have to use the brake and slow down more. This game, you can stop on a dime, you can start on a dime, and I gave it the benefit of the doubt most of the time, just because I thought, I don't know, these cars are really old, and I don't know what a feels like to drive a car like this, so who knows, maybe this is what a car of that era felt like.
The fighting mechanics felt really similar too. You had the L1 and you get into your fight stance and you press face buttons and you're stalking dudes.
Right.
It did also have a grab mechanic, which is really fun.
Yeah. This isn't a fantastic game that I feel like, oh man, if you missed it, you're totally missing out.
Right.
But the setting and the character, the main character, and at least the beginning of the story, I felt it was really, really cool because it was bold and somewhat different. I mean, I would like to play more games set in different time periods,
right?
History, future, whatever, but that have some sense of reality. And I like visiting places that exist in the real world virtually, just because I can't travel all that much, and it's definitely not my favorite game of the year, but I had fun.
No, it's worth a play. I think for most people, a lot of people tend to pass it by because of all the good games that were out this year.
Yeah.
But I'd say if you're interested in that time period and you like GTA, you should check it out.
What if life was like Squarespace?
Squarespace is a publishing system for anyone looking to build a blog, portfolio, or any kind of website. Squarespace offers a uniquely flexible tool for just about anyone, no coding experience required, to build high-end, complex websites with the same functionality and uniqueness that you find on some of the highest traffic pages on the web. Good taste not included. Sign up today and use promo code COOP.
Okay. That. And that. That should be it. Wait. So apparently it's not.
Didn't make it.
Sure.
Oh,
okay.
My card, of course. Yeah. Jason would kill me if I left that out.
Oh, yeah, good point.
Right?
Alright, so now we're good to go.
Oh, wait.
Oh, good one.
Yeah.
And while I'm at it,
Oh,
gotta have those.
We're not gonna have those in 20.
Gotta have those.
Oh, that reminds me. Our buddies.
Oh,
Interview Blitz.
Interview Blitz.
Those guys are great.
Alright, gotta have
Alright.
those guys.
Badass. Okay, now.
No, if we're gonna have them in, we have to at least have.
Oh, really?
Yeah, dude.
that's gonna be awful in 10 years.
Thirsty in 10 years.
Oh, come on. Alright, we're good.
We're good,
done.
we're good.
Alright, let's go.
See you in 10 years, buddy.
Good.
Job well done.
Yep.
I love you guys.